Dear CEEMAN colleagues, welcome. Welcome to the first CEEMAN panel discussion on reimagining management education. My name is Alinka Bracic-Lalic and I am CEEMAN International Quality Accreditation Director and at the same time also the Vice Dean for Research at IDC Bled School of Management in Slovenia. Before we start with our panel discussion, I would like to do two things. Firstly, I would like to check in with you. I truly hope that you all are doing well, that you all are safe and healthy. And at the same time, I also truly hope that we will meet each other very, very soon. And secondly, my CEEMAN colleagues have reminded me that there are some CEEMAN house rules that we all will have to follow throughout this panel discussion. And the first rule here is that this panel discussion will be recorded, and you will get the recording in our thank you letter that will be sent out to you in the following few days. And secondly, we would also like to encourage you and invite you to join us on this digital stage by raising your questions. So if you have any questions, please put your questions in the questions and answers area. We will do, actually, together with our panelists, we will do our best in order to address and answer all your questions in the second part of this panel discussion. And now, CEEMAN colleagues, I would like to finally invite to join me on this digital stage my dear panelists. So I would like to invite firstly to join me on the floor Professor Nicola Kleyn, the Dean of GIBS, so Gordon Institute of Business and Science at the University of Pretoria, South Africa. Dear Nicola, welcome.
Alenka, thank you for having me. Greetings from the South. It's wonderful to be here and to be engaging with so many colleagues from so many different countries.
Thank you for being with us, Nicola. And now I would like to invite Professor Jiang. He's the Dean at School of Management at Zhejiang University in China. Professor Wei, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Hello, friends, colleagues. How are you? I'm very happy to here to talk about the situation, the change of education, and to exchange the experience and the future, our business education in the future. And happy to meet you here. And we are looking for meet you in the future by face-to-face communication. Okay, see you. Okay, thank you. Sorry, thank you.
Super, great to see you too. Thank you for being with us, Professor Wei. And I would like to now invite Professor Grzegorz Mazurek. He is the Vice Rector for International Relations at Kozminski University, Poland. Hello, Grzegorz.
Hello, Alenka. Hello, Nicola. Hello, dear webinar participants. It's a great pleasure for me to be here with you. And I hope all these things I'll say will be valuable for you, because this is the most important, to give you kind of contribution on the behalf of CEEMAN and Kozminski University. So once again, hello.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being with us. Now we have many questions for you, dear panelists. Questions that are related to the current situation and also the questions that are related to the future directions of management education. And maybe I can start with you, Nicola. As you know, and as we all know, COVID-19 has changed the way how we live, how we work, how we relate to each other. So I would like to hear from you, Nicola. How has your institution responded to the implications brought on by COVID-19 pandemic, and also how it has impacted your institution.
Thank you, Alenka. I think it's important for me to give a little bit of a background, perhaps. GIBS, which is the dean where the business school where I'm dean, is part of the University of Pretoria. We sit on a separate campus, so we have quite a lot of autonomy. Having said that, we're all in the situation where we're affected by a very strong national lockdown, and I'll talk more about the country a little later, perhaps. South Africa has been on a very, very stringent lockdown. That means virtually no leaving home for 6 weeks. We go into 6 weeks tomorrow. So the primary impact on the institution in terms of us playing the role that we need to be playing is, number one, of course, it's been managing our employees and moving all work off-site, and that comes with its own challenges, and perhaps we can speak about that. And then also from the business school's perspective, we have a very strong focus on participant-centered learning. So we are a school that values face-to-face engagement, a lot of experiential learning in our philosophy. All of our programs are post-experience, postgraduate programs. So all of those have moved into an online mode, and we refer to it as emergency remote, I think, as many schools are doing. So this is not a program that was designed to go online, but it is an emergency remote teaching mode. And then a significant part of our activities also focus on executive education. And in a lot of those cases, what we found is we've had to postpone programs. From an economic perspective, we anticipate quite a few cancellations. Research is going very well. Faculty are very fortunate, I think, in business schools that we don't have to access laboratories and we don't need the physical conditions. So research is one area that's on and up. Teaching has totally, in academic programs, moved online, and we can chat about that and answer questions around that. And then, of course, managing our employees. One of the big preoccupations now is about how do we create safe, healthy environments as we start moving out of lockdown in the months to come. But South Africa is certainly behind the European and definitely behind the Asian curve in terms of its release of lockdown. I'm going to stop there, Alenka, so I can give time for other panelists.
Thank you very much for sharing your insights into your country, into your institution, what is going on there. And I would like to move to Europe, to Poland. Grzegorz, before I raise a question for you, recently I have heard great news, and the news is that you are about to become a new rector of Kozminski University. So on behalf of CEEMAN community, I would like to express sincere congratulations for this achievement.
Thank you, Alenka. Thank you. Please keep your fingers crossed for the future of business and management education at Kozminski and in Central and Eastern Europe. But basically, as we are here together from all over the world, also for the world. So thank you, Alenka. But we are here for talking about the challenges and that's what's going on. So in many ways, I can just mimic what Nicola said. So we have total lockdown in Poland. Everybody has to stay home. University schools are closed. Maybe in the nearest weeks, those conditions will be changing, but we are living in a world of total uncertainty. So we don't know what's going on in the nearest future. For us, everything started more or less on the 10th of March, when the government decided to close the universities. So for us, the most important thing was to keep delivering the value for the students. So we basically had 1 day of locking down, meaning that we didn't provide courses, and it was more or less 11th of March, it was Wednesday. But since Thursday, 12th of March, we started delivering courses at the beginning to more or less 50% of our Polish students and 90% to our English students, so within our English track studies. After 2 weeks, more or less 197 to 99% of all our classes are run online. which was possible because of a couple of reasons. The first reason was that we had a platform to run the courses. We worked on MS Teams, so it was quite easy to teach the teachers how to use one single platform. Second thing, we had a huge support from our IT department. So let's say on Thursday, 12th of March, 10 p.m., 150 faculty members being online and being taught how to use the platform. The third thing I think is the most important, which is the support from the students. They were also very eager to continue their education. They didn't have the perspective that it's a great moment to have holidays. It was just other way around. They expected us to deliver the courses. So we had a strong energy coming from them and huge support. And I think there is a fourth condition of making the process go well, which is let's say that something what is called digital competence of the leadership and of the employees from administrative staff. So there was a strong support also coming from the rector, from other members of the managing body. So everybody knew that this is actually the moment to grasp the chance of going into digital transformation instead of looking at the process as a huge problem we cannot solve. So it was also like checking in poker, what is the culture of the organization. So till now, everything looks well. Nevertheless, taking into challenges of the future, I think two are the biggest ones. The first is the durability of the crisis. So the question is how we are going to work in the next semester when the new recruitment phase comes into place. And second thing is the constant improvement of the quality of education using the online and distance learning, which obviously we can use online platforms, but still, you know, for instance, keeping the attention of the student is much difficult. So we have to start to think differently. So actually right now in the next weeks and months will be very challenging for all faculty members, not only to move our courses online, but to start teaching differently.
Thank you, Grzegorz. It seems that online learning is here to stay, and that we will have to also take and work on quality assurance, on the questions related to faculty development, and of course also on other questions related to equality, how to because we have also heard from international students and also other students that they have some problems in accessing this digital infrastructure that is set at the university level. So what about China, Professor Wei? Your school, your university, and also your country had experienced lockdown few months before than other universities, than Kozminski University, than GIBS and other universities around the globe. So I would like to hear also from your side, how did you manage all these changes, and also what is the current situation at your school? Is there a business as usual, back to the normal, or what is new? What is new at your university?
Hi, Alenka. Yeah, I'm very happy to answer your questions. As you know, the coronavirus is come from, maybe it come from Wuhan, from Hubei province. Actually, before the end of June, we are not very serious about the coronavirus. You know, but we are lucky because of the Spring Festival. Let's say our university, our school are in the holiday from the end of June, January, and then our new semester is begin from the middle of February. So we have more than 20 days to prepare for the education, the courses. So it is very challenging for us to change the education style, the change of syllabus, the change of our education materials. So it is so tough for us to change. You know, the students in our school, there are more than 3,000 students in our school, from undergraduate students to master to PhD to MBA to EMBA to EDP. So it's so complicated. So that is why I have no day rest, no holiday up to now, because I have to change everything. Education, examination. In the past, let me see, 1, 2, 3, more than 3 months. This afternoon, we also have one meeting to educate the teacher. You know, in the past 5 days, the students come back to the campus because of the high control or high authority of the central government. So that is why the situation is changing so quickly. So today we are welcome our students go back to our campus, to our classroom, to prepare for the research and education. So we are lucky because of the great change. So just so you say, what are the news for us? Online education is very new, it's very challenging. The education style, the education approaches is very great change. So we do training, we do communication by online, we use the Zoom or Alibaba online device. I think it is a new day, a new period for us to improve, update our education model. So yeah, maybe we can share our experience, because today the students has come back to our school, come back to our campus, come back to the room. So we have a seminar, a workshop already with our PhD students. Yeah. So very brief introduction of our education and the situation. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Professor Wei, for sharing your insights with us. I hear from your inputs that online education is the common denominator. But we hear also from different sources, from consulting agencies, about the different scenarios, what will happen to the business sector, that there will be severe consequences to the business sector. So also the level of unemployment will be increased. At the same time, we hear from our international students about their plans. They are planning to defer their studies abroad. Also, QS survey demonstrates this, reveals these results. And at the same time, somehow we hear calls for reinventing ourselves, our admission services, recruitment services, and there are also many open questions in terms of the autumn intake. So I would like to also hear besides online learning, what are other challenges that you observe in your country, that you observe in your school, in your university? Maybe Nicola, we can start with you.
Sure, thank you, Alenka. So this is a really important question, because the response of the university has to be aligned to the realities in the country. South Africa, as many of you will know, is characterized by very high levels of inequality, high levels of poverty, an economy that has not grown significantly over the last couple of years. And so when we start talking about job loss, we estimate that unemployment in the country will move from where it sat in the last quarter at formal unemployment of 29% to probably around 40 to 45% unemployment. There are also a number of people who are in jobs who are in the informal economy who are really becoming on the breadline. So this question of what is the role that business needs to play in the country and how do we as a business school support business to play that role is one aspect of the university. Another aspect of the university is thinking about the impact of equality when it comes to moving students into online solutions. We're a country that is characterized by very high mobile data costs, low bandwidth. And so when I look at some of my counterparts in other countries who did what we did in the beginning, we moved onto platforms like Zoom, like we're on today, and moved the faculty onto that. But once we went into the lockdown period, when students couldn't come to the campus and access data, we realized we had to move into an asynchronous mode. There are other reasons as well in that there are students who are performing essential services and need to work and cannot be in class when we would want them to be in class. So I think it's very, very important that our schools, as much as we are all trying to be international, we're all part of a changing world. We have to look very closely at what is the country agenda. Another issue for our university, it's not as much an issue for the business school, but in our university, we have in excess of 25% of students who are experiencing hunger. So it's one thing to be having a conversation around how are we moving online and what does the future look like, but we have a responsibility to serve our communities with what they need to do now and to leverage those capabilities. So, you know, for example, I think other aspects have been the secondment of faculty, obviously in faculties of health sciences, but also faculty of economics to assist with scenario planning, to support governments and to collectively play our role. We cannot as deans just think about what do we do when the crisis is over. We have to be thinking all the time now, how do we serve our immediate stakeholders, but what is the social role that we play in fostering the dealing with a health pandemic as well as an economic pandemic.
Thank you, Nicola. What are your observations, Grzegorz, in terms of these challenges? Can you unmute yourself?
Sorry. My first on-the-top observation is that the present situation shows how you look at the reality. Basically, right now, some companies, organizations, universities, they take kind of a defensive strategy. So let's stop our activities, let's move to the corner, let's wait until everything will be okay. The other strategy is taking the opportunity, seize the opportunity, because that's what happens right now. No matter how tragic the world is also a huge opportunity for many. So for instance, just a couple of seconds ago, I looked at the question and answer panel, and Barbara said that EMBA students are so much concerned about their businesses. They're not eager right now to study and to educate. I think it's wrong, and I also see it from companies. So companies, those companies from difficult businesses, let's say hospitality business, of course they are in trouble, but simultaneously they are very much aware that they need to adapt to those conditions. So for instance, they have to go very much into digital transformation competences. And here comes the demand, because they want to have their employees taught and to be equipped with the knowledge how to transform the companies. And here comes the schools, here comes the business schools, because at business schools, you should have people who are competent enough to teach people how to exist in the current environment, which we obviously know will never change. I mean, in 2 months, even if COVID will disappear, hopefully, the world is not going to be the same as 6 months ago. It will be, this change will be permanent. So basically, first of all, it's about your attitude, whether you take it as a huge strategy or you take it as an opportunity. And I think business schools, if they want to be credible for the society, they have to prove that they can give hand to the society, which means, from my point of view, to teach the students, to teach the managers, to teach the business how to survive and develop in those very difficult times. My second observation is, again, looking at everything what happens as an opportunity, is that, for instance, the regulations coming from our government, especially from the Ministry of Higher Education, is being very flexible right now. So basically speaking, without going too much into details, right now, a lot of trust is given to universities when it goes to examinations, form of studies, defending master thesis, bachelor programs, even PhD studies. We can also have online defenses. So right now, also there is kind of a window of opportunity to make changes within the regulations, both on national and university level. And I think we should also take it into account. And the third thing is that, again, looking from the perspective of opportunity, I give you an example. We had for years, we have something like rectors meetings, okay? We have many business meetings, okay? And obviously there was a time clash. I have classes, I have some other meetings. What happens right now? There's no problem with meeting anybody, because even if you are in a car, you can put online mode and you can participate. And this is just one tiny example when you see huge blue ocean coming, like how many things right now you can do. I'll give you another example. At our university, I mean, the university is not small, but still there are many students. So we were struggling in the last years how to have the quality of studies and the room for students, because there are so many students. Again, right now, online blended learning gives you huge opportunities to provide great value for students, even if they are not at university. So from my point of view, finishing this talk, it's all about your mindset and the mindset of your team. Whether you have in your team people who try to find solutions and not people who only can state problems, because obviously right now everything is a problem. But there are many, many ways you can really take the situation as opportunity. And on top of that, actually, this is a very important moment for business schools, where you really have to prove your credibility. What is your real value for the society? And we should really take advantage of that as business schools.
Bravo, thank you. I fully agree. And I also hear actually two things here. Service to society, social role, local relevance, that we will have to work on this much, much better. And also moving from reactive mode to creative mode in terms of looking for opportunities for our stakeholders, opportunities for ourselves in terms of universities, management education institutions. So Professor Wei, how do you see, whether do you would like to add any of these challenges to this, anything to these challenges?
Yes, I completely agree with the common ideas of two panelists. In the past 3 months, we always discuss how to balance the crisis and opportunity. So maybe I can give you my stories as a case to change my research and education. Since the end of January, because of the breakout of coronavirus in Wuhan, in Hubei province, I do research. I investigate our alumni, the entrepreneurs, the classmates, based on the entrepreneurship, innovation, and economy. So today, up to now, we've written one book about the strategy of the SMEs, the change of small and medium company. And I written many reports or the suggestion to the central government, to provincial government, and to the companies. So from this event, I know the research of business school is very important. We can devote or contribute our mindset, our thinking, our theory, for example, supply chain, For example, the crisis management to the company, to the government. So I think research is a very good opportunity for us to rebuild the methodology of research. So this is one story from me. Second, before this event, we teach the courses in the classroom. So the audience may be less than 130, 40 students. But this time, I give some lectures to, for example, to Alibaba online platform, or from Geely automobile company, or the other industry level. So I found the audience is more than 20,000. One lecture, 20,000. So from this event, I found the professor is so powerful, he's so powerful. Such a large scale, large amount of students come to or listen to our courses, listen to our experience and our suggestion by online education. So I always ask my colleagues, why some professors can influence such a big amount of largest of audience. So what we can do in the future, we must change our routine or our methodology to education. Actually, in China, we are such a big country. We are such a large amount of population. So if you can make a strategy to change your education, maybe you can find a new way to lead the economy, to lead the entrepreneurs, to lead the economists. So I think it is a very big opportunity for the leading business school to change what is the social responsibility, what is the research function, and our contribution to the economy, to the country. So yeah, this is my story about my education and my research. So today we are built a new community to talk, to discussion, how to change the crisis to the opportunity, to change our road, our methodology, to develop our business school. So actually, yes, we have so many challenges, but no challenge, no change. Change means the opportunity. So we are I must think the coronavirus is so challenging, but the change is the new opportunity for us. So if possible, Nicola and Grzegorz, maybe we can invite you to come to China to see the change. Yeah, it's so interesting, though it's very terrible for the event. Yeah, okay. This is my opinion.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So we hear that there are many challenges, but at the same time also many opportunities. And you have, just proposed a call for some collaboration initiatives between each other. So I would like to also ask you, before we give the floor to our audience, I would also like to ask you, what is the way forward? If now there is the time, it is high time that we started doing something differently, something new. What is the way forward for management education institutions? Whether we should change something, whether we should introduce new services, whether we should change our business models, maybe also think about new strategic partnerships. What are your views? What is the way forward?
Shall I jump in there, and I'll start, Alenka. There's a saying about making a path versus following a path. There's no path to follow here. The path has to be made. And so I grapple as a dean with, on one hand, this feeling that you know, there's no doubt, we have to significantly revise our strategies. We have to stop doing things that we have done for years that are part of our established practices. We have to, I agree totally with Grzegorz about opportunity. But I think there's a very important question that is about how do we choose to lead now? And what do we choose to be? And I think that for individuals who think that they're going to come up with the solutions on their own, they're on the back foot, so to speak. I think what becomes very, very important is to recognize that the role of a leader in today's environment is not to have all the answers. It's the bravery to ask the right questions. It's the importance also of showing that it's okay not to answer. There was a comment about how do I deal with experiential learning in our classrooms. I think we're all on the steepest learning curves we're ever going to see in our careers. And if we don't feel comfortable to innovate, to try, to learn, to fail, who are we to teach students anything? So for me, this is not about what's the answer, what's the replicable strategy. It's about an acknowledgement of our own vulnerability in it, but also of significant opportunities to change. I think that there has been this tussle always across business schools between who do you collaborate with, who do you compete against? And I would hope that this is going to lead to far more engagement, where we've seen international collaboration, for example, around a degree program. I don't think we're seeing enough of these kinds of think tanks. I don't think we're seeing enough space to go into environments and go, what are the problems you're facing? What are the questions you're asking? That's a great question. And we don't have time to wait for articles to be edited and things to come out in 6 months' time. We need that now, and we need to ask across our organizations. I want to make one more quick point, and then I'm going to keep quiet because we've got a lot of comments. One of the key learnings I've had is if we don't take our stakeholders along, we're going to be in trouble. So this issue of the engagements with the students, the issue of our students have always expected us, we make the rules, we say how things will work. We have to also create a space. They're vulnerable. They're in a very difficult situation. And I'm not suggesting that we should sit here and go, we don't know. But I think this question about co-creating with different stakeholders, reaching out to business and saying, what is it that you are needing right now? We're in a phenomenal opportunity where, because there is so much change, I think that our partners will be a little more open to failure. We can get it wrong at a simplistic level. We can forget to unpress the mute button, or we can step away from our chair without realizing it. We must not worry about looking stupid. What we must not do is not do anything and think that somehow things are not going to have changed.
Great inputs, Nicola. Grzegorz, would you like to add something?
Well, okay, let's have the story. Let's say there is a 10th of March in Poland, everything is closed down, and there is university in some city saying, oops, there is a coronavirus, we cannot run classes, so we are closing down. And they're closed for first week, second week, first month, second month, third month, and so on. What is the message to the students? What is the message to the society? The message is that we cannot trust you, because if you are a university, you are supposed to give the value to the society, to prove that you are valuable, to give solutions, to give answers to the situation. When a restaurant is closed because of coronavirus, probably you will go bankrupt if there is no other business model, let's say e-commerce. And everybody says this situation and this company didn't survive because this company didn't find solution. So for me personally, the present situation is the biggest question about the credibility of universities. Why students should attend university? Why? Because of the diploma? Young generation is less and less, at least what I see from Generation Z. They want to have bachelor or master, but actually they really count every second of their life. So if they see that you are not giving them the right thing, the thing which develop them, well, why should we stay here at this class and listen to those classes, to those lectures? So again, I think that present situation is a huge check in poker for universities, and it's also a huge question to ourselves how we should work. Many schools, many organizations, not only about schools, have very hierarchical structure. Okay, you have emails, documents, time needed to take decisions. And for many years, digital transformation was an option. Oh, you can be innovative. Oh, well, we are not innovative, but we are fine. Right now, digital transformation is not an option. It's the only solution to survive in the present conditions. So again, the present situation, it's not only about the curriculum and that's what we teach, but also about the way how we work as an organization. And for me personally, it's again a great possibility to make changes, especially like in the case of Poland, when the ministry gives you regulations which allow you to work. Because, you know, there was always like, we would like to do this, we would like to be innovative, but the government does not allow us to do it. Oh, okay, solved. Right now, it's just other way around. There's a trust, we can do things, so let's do them. Let's skip the old hierarchies, the old system of values. Let's focus right now of delivering value to the society in the modern times.
Mm. What I have heard from you, Nicola and Grzegorz, is that actually COVID-19 calls us to reinvent ourselves, to identify what our new role is in our society, and also show the credibility in terms of addressing the challenges faced by our society. Anything to be added? Professor Wei, how do you see this?
Yes. I think Grzegorz' comment is very heuristic for me, for us. Actually, I have three perceptions or perspectives. First, we are think or rethink what is the social responsibility of being school. In the past period, we always evaluate the professor by the paper or articles published in the journal. But today, we have to respond the needs of society. If the business school, especially the leading business school, cannot respond to the needs of the society, they will doubt whether the business school existed.
Mm.
If the business school is just a provider of diploma or degree, we cannot provide the solution to respond to the social need. I think it is not the future of business school. So yes, I completely agree the idea of what is the social responsibility of business school. Second, we have to change the mindset of research. We have to do many statistics. We do many cases to see, okay, what is the rules, or what is the theory, or what is the result to explain the future, the past stories. But we cannot provide the solution of today or next day's problems. So I always think we must change the organization of research team. We must closely link with the business, closely link with the governance. So we have to change the organization of research team or the institution. Second, third one, I always consider about internationalization. You know, today, the international students has not permitted to come back to the campus because of the globalization is so complicated. It's so difficult to move. So what is the future? Whether we can find new strategies for the B schools globalization. For example, online or virtual world, or the new style of education to promote globalization and the interaction or communication by the virtual, online, or the other methodologies. So I think it is so challenging for our to change the globalization of education. So yes, it's very challenging for us to think the research, the globalization, and the responsibility. So this is my thinking and our discussion.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and observations with us. And now we would like to give the floor to our audience, to our participants. And we have here quite many questions to be addressed, to be answered by us. And we can start. We have a question for Nicola. If time allows, could you please share some examples of successful experiential experimental learning classes, including some insights into options, successes of transferring them online?
Sure, Alenka. I think that when I referenced it, I spoke about experiential learning as opposed to experimental learning. And I think this is, it's difficult. I mean, all of us know we've been reduced, our worlds, our windows have been reduced to a Zoom screen. So the question is, how do you enable novel experiences and learning experiences that are memorable while you're online? And to me, the answer, I don't have a clear answer. There are obviously technology solutions in terms of things like virtual reality that I think we're in the early phases of, and we'll see those escalated. But it does seem to me that as we've moved online, the opportunity for me to have a conversation with you, Alenka, is identical. The costs, the access is identical to a person who lives 100 meters down the road from me, whose house I can't walk to. So the question is, how are we collaborating around giving our students opportunities to engage virtually with workplaces and to engage with individuals in those, to engage with other students from all around the world, to start doing that. We're not going to be able to give them the tangible, the smell of going into a factory or having an engagement in another country, but we have to do a proxy around that in the meantime. So I don't think experiential learning is dead at all. I think we also have to start showing competencies, you know, in this digital space. But what we should avoid is simply a paper under glass kind of approach in digital learning. I think that would be really taking us backwards.
Thank you so much. And now we have another question related to quality aspect of the learning experience. Maybe Grzegorz, you can also answer this one. And it's about, I'm so sorry. It's about how we should ensure the quality of online learning. We have heard and we have made shifts from face-to-face learning to online learning, but we have also heard and seen some challenges related to quality. So I would like to also hear from you, what are the options, how to ensure the quality of online learning?
Yes, I think this is one of the most difficult questions. And Alenka, this question coming from you is very tricky because I think that CEEMAN is one of the institutions who should give us the solutions to keeping the quality high. But obviously I'm joking. Yes, it's a huge concern it's not only about the teaching process, but it's also about the examination process, how to keep it all on a high level, how to keep the examination went smoothly when you have online teaching and online examination process. So I have to say that the first month was the month of huge trust toward the teachers. But what we have right now, we have a very rigid system of evaluating the courses and analyzing the courses which are run on daily basis. So we basically, for instance, we see whether the classes are run on time, whether they're finished on time. We have signals, and we use traditional way of the content, questionnaires of evaluating the courses by students. We receive obviously signals from students if something is wrong, or just an opposite, if something is okay. So I would say that first of all, we are in the process of transforming the measuring the quality, but I think in many ways the process will be quite the same or very similar to that what we had before. Nevertheless, this is the transition period when we really have to find new measurements of measuring at least a couple of things. So I wouldn't give right now one simple solution. I think this is one of the biggest challenges for EFMD, for CEEMAN, for ACSB, yes, on measuring and providing hints to keep the quality assurance of learning process high in terms of online education. I think one of the things which would make everything smooth or easier is to implement at school one technological solution to run courses, because it will be much more difficult to measure quality of teaching and working with students when you use, let's say, Teams, Zoom, Skype, or some asynchronous teaching. This will be a huge mess. So I would say this is a completely new challenge for all schools and accreditation institutions.
Yes.
To provide hints and to give systems to measure the quality.
I agree with you. I also see that this is actually a joint project for all of us. For higher education institutions on one side, national accreditation agencies on the other side, and then we have also international accreditation agencies. And together we all will have to somehow figure it out how we should measure learning outcomes, how we should evaluate learning outcomes, and how we should ensure the quality of online learning. And we have now here a question: are you already preparing for the next crisis? Because we have also heard from different sources that we are actually can wait for another crisis to come after this crisis, after the health crisis. This question is, what can we learn from the current situation in order to minimize and deal with the environmental, economic, and social challenges that the global warming will bring to all of us? Who would like to answer this one? Please, Nicola.
Alenka, I think we're facing this unprecedented opportunity as we deal with the COVID pandemic to reconsider how we live as a human race. So if we're only looking at this as a health crisis and as an economic crisis, we're missing a critical window. We're seeing examples all around the world of one of the biggest experiments we've ever undertaken as a human race in terms of the impact of lockdown on the climate, on nature. I think it's also very, very important when we think socially about the impact on, as I've mentioned, poverty, inequality. And so if as schools, we're not surfacing this opportunity to try and reboot, to try and rethink, to activate for change, and we make the mistake of thinking that we can push that out because that's not today's crisis, we're not understanding that part of the origins of this crisis are attributed to the mismanagement of the natural world. So I think it is a critical time though, for cross and transdisciplinary research and conversations. What we need to be doing is exposing business students to their counterparts in other faculties to be talking about a far more systemic approach to building a better world.
Thank you so much, Nicola.
Okay, Alenka?
Yes?
Yeah, I have one comment on this coronavirus affair. What we consider is about the environmental protection, the natural environment development, and the business economy. So how to balance the environment protection and the economic growth is a very challenge for Chinese companies' future. Though in the past 5 years, the central government emphasized the environmental protection very serious, but how can we educate the social responsibility and the environmental protection for the students, especially for the EMBA and MBA students? We must emphasize or add the new courses or the new cases to give the story. I always think the people, the human side, is a newcomer of the nature. It is the human to destroy the nature or atmosphere. So we must obey the rules of the nature. So before, our course is to emphasize the economic, the cost, or the benefit of the stakeholders, but we have to emphasize this responsibility to the nature, to the world. So this, I think, is a very, very challenging for us to change our responsibility of the business school. Yeah, this is my comment.
Thank you so much. And I'm also very conscious of the time that we have together. What I would like to do is to express many thanks to the panelists. Thank you so much for being with us and for sharing your insights with us. Thank you so much. And at the same time, also I would like to express many thanks to the participants for being with us, for raising your questions, and maybe just final remarks from my side, what I have observed here. From this panel, what I have heard is that there are many challenges, but at the same time, there are also many, many opportunities for management education institutions. And what I have seen here is that actually one thing is clear. We all are in this together. More interconnected, more interdependent than we actually realized. And we can hear how COVID-19 actually calls us to redesign ourselves, to reinvent ourselves, and also to transform our societies as well. And it calls us, management education institutions, to create something new, something that would be more relevant, something that would be more sustainable, and something where we would be able to address all these inequalities that are in our respective environments. So we should collaborate, we should join our forces, we should support each other, and of course, lead the new way in this new reality. So what I would like to say is just to stay healthy, stay safe, and stay connected with CEEMAN. We are here for you, to support you in these uncertain times. See you soon.